Welcome back to Hot Air, the show where we break down the walls, laugh a little too loud. I don't know if you've noticed, but I cackle and dig into the truths that don't always make it into our everyday conversations. I'm your host, Josh, and today's episode is a really special one because, again, it's built around a listener letter that I absolutely loved, but because this is the beginning of spooky season. This is the start. I am wearing my Halloween Michael Myers purple and orange shirt. I bought a bunch of new t-shirts specifically for spooky season episodes. Even though I have a closet filled with them, I didn't need more, but did I want more? Yes. So I bought more. I am so excited because spooky season is my favorite. Today is October 1st, the day I'm recording this. Immediately after recording, I am going to go decorate my apartment. And then I'm going to continue working on my Halloween costume. And then I'm going to watch a scary movie and probably stuff my face with more pizza for the third time this week. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because it feels good. And I am all about doing what feels good. And one day when I have more space, we are going to decorate this podcast area for spooky season like nobody's ever done it before. Bigly. It's going to be bigly. Now let's get to the reason we are here. This listener story comes from someone who identifies as a masculine, cis, gay man. And it's about the first time that he stepped into drag, which started as a fun Halloween costume that turned into something so much deeper. And that's why I chose this story to kick off Halloween season. This story is a journey of self-discovery, freedom, and learning how to embrace both his masculine and feminine sides. It's hilarious, it's heartfelt, and honestly, it shines a light on some of the ways that toxic masculinity and internalized homophobia can hold us back. Things that I have talked about at length. And these things happen even inside of our own community. So, what better way to kick off spooky season than with a listener letter all about their experience with Halloween and getting comfy in drag and getting comfy with themselves. So, grab yourself a pumpkin spice latte, should you be so inclined, or a glass of wine, nobody's judging here, and let's hit it. This listener letter starts, "Hi Josh. First off, I wanted to say thank you for creating Hot Air. You're very welcome. I've been tuning in for a while now, and your mix of humor and heart always makes me feel like I'm sitting across the table from a friend with a glass of wine." You took the words right out of my mouth. "Gossiping, but also digging into the stuff that really matters." And I love that because that's my whole intent here. I'm just chilling, being myself, alone, in a room. He continues, "So here's my story. I'm what most people would probably call a pretty masculine gay man. You know the type. Broad shoulders, low voice, love a good flannel, the kind of guy who gets described as straight acting. Ugh, don't even get me started on that phrase. That was his words, not mine. But really, don't even get me started on that phrase. For most of my life, I thought leaning into that butch role was how I had to exist if I wanted to be accepted. Even within the gay community, I got praised for being the guy who didn't seem gay. And for years, I wore that like a badge of honor, not realizing how heavy it actually was. Cut to Halloween, a few years back. A group of my friends decided we were all going to go big. Wigs, heels, makeup, the whole 9 yards. At first, I was hesitant. I laughed it off like, oh no, drag isn't my thing. That's for the queens, the performers. I'll just throw on a mask or something. But deep down, I was curious. Curious in a way I had been ignoring for a very long time. Finally, I caved. And let me tell you, the first time I sat in that chair and had my friend glue down my brows and paint my face, I was terrified. Not terrified of how I'd look, but of what it meant. Like, if I enjoyed this, did it make me less of a man? Would people look at me differently? Would I look at myself differently? Those are such valid questions and concerns I think a lot of us can relate to. He continues, I decided to go all out. My drag debut, Jessica Rabbit. Yep, the red sequin dress, the purple gloves, the slit up the side that made my legs, which were shaved for the first time ever, look about 3 miles long. I stuffed a ridiculous bra, slipped into some 5-inch stilettos, and by the end of it, I barely recognized myself in the mirror. But the thing is, the second that I walked into that Halloween party, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: freedom. Pure, stupid, glittery freedom. I wasn't obsessing over whether my voice dropped low enough or if I looked masculine enough. I wasn't carrying myself with that tight little armor that I always put on. I just was. My hands fluttered when I talked, my hips swayed when I walked, and instead of cringing at myself, I was having the time of my life. People cheered, people laughed, and most importantly, I laughed at myself in the best way possible. That night flipped a switch. What started as just Halloween turned into something more. I found myself wanting to do it again, and again, and again. Eventually, I gave my drag persona a name: Miss Rusty Nail, because because let's be honest, she's strong, she's sharp, and she'll knock you on your ass if you're not careful. That's hysterical. I always wonder what my drag name would be. I'll have to come up with something. Actually, I'm gonna pause for a second. You know that saying where it's like your first the street, is it the street you lived on and like your pet's name or something like that? Mine would be, well, I guess mine would be like either Brooklyn Gaylord, because I lived on a street named Gaylord. How hilarious is that? Brooklyn is my current dog, Brooklyn Gaylord. That's actually pretty good. Okay, back to the letter. Dressing in drag became more than a costume, it became therapy. It was like I'd been holding my breath for years trying to be the right kind of gay man, and suddenly I had permission to exhale. In drag, I could explore the softer, sillier, more vulnerable sides of myself that I had been taught to bury. And the more I let her out, the more I realized that masculinity and femininity are not opposites. They are dance partners. Ooh, I love that. I'm going to steal that. Thank you. Thank you, Rusty Nail. They're dance partners. They go hand in hand. Here's the emotional part. I didn't realize how much internalized homophobia I was carrying until I slipped into those heels. The gay community can be brutal about this stuff. There's this unspoken hierarchy where being masc is prized and being femme gets treated like a punchline. And that's toxic as hell. I had absorbed it so deeply that I was policing myself without even realizing it. Drag forced me to confront that. I say that all the time about policing the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we just do everything. Like, let loose, peeps. Now, I'm not going to say every gay man needs to put on a wig and lashes to figure themselves out, though I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 would contour again. But what I learned is that we all deserve to let down our guards, to let ourselves be soft, to let ourselves be ridiculous, to let ourselves be free of the pressure to perform masculinity like it's some kind of audition. Drag gave me comfort because it reminded me that my identity is not a box that I have to stay inside. It's a spectrum. Some days I'm Rusty Nail, sipping martinis in a sequin gown. Other days I'm just me, fixing my car and watching football in sweatpants. Both of those versions are real. Both of them are valid, and neither one cancels out the other. Oh, I have full body chills. This guy's got it. Like, got it down. I love this. If there's one lesson that I want people to take away, it's this. The gay community has been through so much trauma: rejection, ridicule, survival. Sometimes that makes us cling way too hard to these rigid ideas of what we're supposed to be. But healing means giving ourselves and each other the grace to be the full, messy, fabulous spectrum of who we are. Oh, Josh, don't cry. Don't cry. This is Halloween. There's no tears in spooky season. So, to anyone listening who has ever felt the need to hide their softness, to shrink their femininity, or to police their own mannerisms, let it go. You might be surprised what you find on the other side. And if you're still unsure, well, Halloween is coming up. Maybe it's time to give it a whirl. I guess that's why they sent me this, because Halloween is coming. And I probably said spooky season. This makes a lot of sense now. Got it. Thanks for letting me share this. And thanks for giving us a platform to talk about the things that don't always get said out loud. With love and a lot of glitter, Rusty Nail. that name. I honestly wish I could steal it. So I don't know about you, but that letter hit me unexpectedly. I had like glanced through it before, but that was funny. That was good. It got me in the best way possible. What I absolutely love about it is that it's not just about drag and Halloween. It's about learning to take off that armor, like he said, that we've just built up and realizing that masculinity and femininity are not enemies. They're parts of the same spectrum. We all get to just like dance through and dance across and choose sometimes. Recently I realized secret, I've been working on a book and I realized that I forget what the term is, but I like to play with my gender visually in terms of like some days I dress like very masculine and like my version of butch and then and I feel good and I feel sexy and I feel attractive and then other days I'm like I want something more fitted and like more edgy and a little bit more feminine. And I love that too. And I've been learning to play with that spectrum instead of just being like, oh, I have to be a bro with those like ankle high socks at the gym all the time. Like, no, some days I wear a wife beater. I actually don't even know if we're supposed to say that anymore. Sometimes I wear a tank top and like longer shorts. Other times I'm wearing like my cute little matching Lululemon set. Like there is such a spectrum to play with. And it's like so much more fun when you're not just locking yourself into that box, exactly like he said. So with all that being said, here are a few lessons that I think that we can all carry with us that I'm taking right from this letter and just elaborating on a little bit. So A, freedom comes when you stop policing yourself. Whether it's your voice, like I do sometimes, your mannerisms, like I do sometimes, or the way that you dress, you don't have to perform a version of yourself when it feels like you're just locked in a cage. Let it go, just be. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, my wrists are flailing about. It's just the way I am. Deal with it, right? Also, there's no right way to be gay or to be human for that matter. Both the soft and strong, the glitter and the grit, they all belong to you. At some point, we just decided femininity is soft and masculinity is rough and rugged. Like, we decided that at some point. Fuck that. Somebody made that up. Be who you want. Next, healing starts when we challenge toxic ideas. The community has its own hierarchies and traumas, exactly like he said, but choosing to embrace our full selves and celebrate that in others is how we are going to move forward. Just allowing people to be and to expand what our belief system of this spectrum is going to allow us to grow and move forward. And maybe the biggest takeaway, don't be afraid to try something that scares you. Because sometimes what feels like just a Halloween costume can actually be the start of finding a whole new side of yourself. And I can attest to that. If you're watching on YouTube, here are some photos of some of my past Halloween costumes. One year, I think it was when I was Hellraiser, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a very gay Hellraiser. I ordered these giant platform boots with these buckles. They're like so goth. I've always wanted to wear boots like this my whole entire life. Every year for Halloween, I've never worn heels at this point in my life. I've never worn like any costume like this to this degree. And while it was still edgy and had a bit of a masculine influence, just me putting on those boots, I was like, I felt like such a fucking badass. I felt so confident. I felt exactly like Rusty Nail did, feeling like you're doing something you've wanted to do for a really long time. The following year, I was Poison Ivy and I ordered actual platform heels for that. They were like knee high, maybe even higher than that, green latex or looks like latex-ish. And or what is that? Patent leather or something like that, shiny green, whatever. And I'm surprised I didn't break my ankles. I have some hysterical videos from that evening. Maybe they're on the screen right now, actually. Who knows if I can find them. I'll also put them on the Instagram. So funny. But that was like the next step after my Hellraiser platforms. I went to these cool heels. And then the next year I did something in these like glittery cowboy boot heels. I was one of the Lost Boy vampires. And it just like evolved from there. And it feels so freeing. And if there's ever a day in the year where you can try something new and let your freak flag fly, it's Halloween. Anything goes. Like, if you're not doing it, if you haven't considered doing it yet, or you haven't done it, or you've maybe been like, maybe this year, do it. Just do it. Please. You will not regret it. Now, wrapping this up, if you want to share your own story, a listener letter, or even a topic suggestion for the show, of course, I would love to hear from you. You can head on over to my website, hotairwithjoshuarobert.com, send it in on the contact page, or go to Instagram or TikTok at _hotairpod, and you can message me there. And maybe I will share your story on an upcoming episode of Hot Air. And all month long, I'm going to be exploring spooky season from an LGBTQ plus point of view with a deep dive into the queer influence behind my favorite movie, which is Scream. Duh. We're going to talk about gay conspiracy theories. They do exist. I was as surprised as you probably are. Pop culture characters like Buffy or the Babadook that have the gays wrapped around their fingers. Also, there's a spooky, paranormal, very gay ghost story I'm going to share. So if you love spooky season, you are in the right place for the gays. If you can't tell, I live for spooky season. This is my time to shine. So until next time, keep breathing, because, well, if you're not breathing, you're dead. Keep laughing, cackling, like me, like a possessed witch. Keep letting those hidden sides of you shine. Try to embrace it this Halloween. And let your freak flag fly. 'Tis the season, after all. And I'll see you next Tuesday.